Nation. So this week we're playing the Seattle Seahawks in the black hole against pretty much our old AFC West foes from before the realignment. I miss those uniforms, by the way, that silver helmet and blue uniforms. I mean, that current uniform you guys have since going to the NFC, that's crap. Anyways, on a much serious note, those games back in the day, I remember that Husky Stadium, that was hell on earth for the Oakland Raiders because of the rain. They would blow leads. I remember there was that one safety that was controversial up there. They just could not play in Husky Stadium when the Kingdome was blown up and Quest Field was under construction. So the question for the Raiders this game is consistency. Once again, I got to bring it up because the Raiders have shown up in 2 AFC West games. Whether they show up because it's a divisional rival game, most likely. Are they going to keep that same intensity going into this week against the Seahawks? I don't want to see them overlooking this team. Obviously, they're 4-2. Pete Carroll has done a great job out there so far this season. As most people, like myself and experts, thought this was going to be a rebuilding year, but right now they're looking very good. Definitely at home for sure. They just don't lose at home right now. But now that they're on the road, this game is a decent toss-up, if you want to call it that. Both teams have a running game. Michael Bush and Darren McFadden for the Raiders. We used both running backs in the correct way. I like Michael Bush up the middle. They say pound the bush, and McFadden goes left, right, off tackle. Simple as that. For the Seahawks, they got Justin Forsett and Marshawn Lynch, 2 former Cal Bears who were once teammates back in the day. This is a homecoming for Marshawn Lynch. As you all know, he's an Oakland Tech graduate. I remember that back in the day he was owning pretty much high school football out there, so homecoming for him. The Seattle's gotten better in the running game despite their stats because they haven't had Marshawn Lynch for so many games right now. They've definitely improved the running game for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if both quarterbacks do not pass for over 250 yards or if they have very minimal attempts because both teams will probably try to run the ball this game. So what does that mean? The Raiders' key is the run defense once again. We were lucky that Denver doesn't like to run the ball. A lot of their play calling was pass. That really came back to haunt them. They weren't really trying to run, and when they did very little, and that's why they're ranked 32nd in running offense as of right now. Seattle Seahawks, though, much better than that. Their rankings, don't even look at the stats because Lynch and Forsett are much better as a duo. We got to learn to stop those guys. Another key for the Raiders is the penalties. It's frustrating when you see penalties. That was the one flaw I didn't like about the Broncos and Raiders is that we saw a ton of penalties, whether it was false starts or holdings. I know that Jared Veldheer is human. I mean, you have to give a rookie some slack. He had a very good game, though, in last week against the Broncos outside of the penalties. His size was matching up well with Denver's undersized defense. They're going to need to, once again, the running game is going to need to be effective. I'm not sure if Bruce Gradkowski is playing or not as of this video being made, but either way, the quarterback composure is going to need to be good because Jason Campbell, right now he's just an AFC West person. He could win games against the Chargers and the Broncos playing alright ball. He's not great, but he did his job in those 2 games. He hasn't done his job against the 49ers. And, against the NFC West, I don't need to see him no-showing and all of a sudden turning like he once was. Seattle's front 7 is much more improved. They have an okay run defense. They stopped Frank Gore for sure. I know last week they didn't do great against the Cardinals, but depending on the running plays we run, they could stop it easily. The secondary is vulnerable. They don't have the greatest in yards, the secondary, but we got to look out for Earl Thomas, their rookie out of Texas. That guy is a ball hawk. Got to be careful with him. I don't want to see a bunch of interceptions from him thrown by Campbell or Gradkowski or whoever's in there for the Raiders. Don't want to see that. We got to be able to use the wide receivers a little bit more. I mean, Lewis Murphy and Ford played all right. And we were using Reese, Nick Miller, who's our punt returner. We used him as a receiver better than obviously Hayward Bay and a lot of the other core. I mean, Johnny Lee Higgins is not doing much either. That's the other thing. Zach Miller is Zach Miller. We already know he's fine, and there's no problems there. But the blocking and pass protection, that's going to need to step it up because I think Denver was undersized, and that's why we were able to play well in Denver last week. So special teams, They definitely lit up the Chargers, but so did we, so that's pretty much an even draw. Shout out to the 12th man faithful of Seahawks fans on here. I mean, Pigpen, Dicer, two cool Seahawks fans. I know there's a lot more of you, but those were the two guys I remember from last season, so I know that they are the Seahawks fans who can rep these guys here week in and week out. Not sure if some of the other guys who have come on this season, but, Clover, Matty Boy, you guys are okay. I have nothing wrong with you guys, so good to see the, 12th man faithfuls pretty strong here on YouTube, though. So, with that being said, let's go Raiders. Quick side note, remember to vote this week. Besides the Pro Bowl, you got the elections in a week. I'm not going to say which side to vote for, but, in California, the governor race and also, of course, the Senate, it's going to be big decided. So whatever state you're in, please vote. You have that right and use it. And, also vote for the Pro Bowlers because Darren McFadden is playing like one, if not Zach Miller. So, with that being said, one last thing I need to... Happy Halloween, you guys. Let's go Raiders. Let's get them on Halloween in the black hole.